Vision India Forum welcomes Lieutenant General Consul Himalaya Singh, the first Lieutenant General Northeast. He was created with lot of important projects he's handled over his 40 plus years of career. Currently advisor to the Chief Minister of Manipur. The turbulent, boiling, and in turmoil state of Manipur, the son of the soil, Lieutenant General Consul Himalaya Singh, is with us today. The pattern of the forum, somebody who's decorated with his, unparalleled, enviable presence over the last 3 years, almost 50 shows with us. I'm proud to say and happy to say, people like me have been lucky to make friends with such great personalities like him through the Corona Kal. Without wasting any further time, the nation has already lost a lot, though it doesn't seem in places outside Northeast especially that the nation has really much to care about what's happening in Manipur. Let us hear it from the horse's mouth. The background and the backdrop of the Manipur crisis. What is, because this hasn't, nothing like this is something which is a overnight phenomena. Nothing like this. Nothing like this is something which is, uh, you know, uh, which is suddenly blows out of proportion, suddenly which comes to the fore. These are all issues which have had their, DNA embedded for a much longer time than they should have been. And the ramifications and the cost to the nation is here for everyone to see. General K H Singh has decorated our shows with issues on NSCN, militancy, insurgency, 9 years of current dispensations rule. There was a lot of talk around success in kind of, controlling the insurgency and militancy issues in Northeast. But the same seems to have been completely blown over the roof. It has been really blown over the roof, and the cat is out in the open. People like General K H Singh, who know the soil, who know the issues, and who know the solutions to these possible solutions to these issues, are the ones we have to be, taking into our confidence more than ever before as a nation. And Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. Narendra Bhai Modi, these people have to, they will have themselves in good stead if they can take the advice, and even the donor minister, Kishan Reddy. Let's aside the Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh. All these people have to really, take into confidence and sincerity, take it into confidence with sincerity, the advice, solutions, suggestions of Lieutenant General Comsem Himalaya Singh, so that this kind of issues now, which are now a blot on the NDA's so-called, huge success checklist, which had the insurgency and militancy being controlled in Northeast as one of the big, what do you call, signature marks of the Modi government over the last 9 years. Going into the 2024 elections, this has assumed unparalleled significance, especially considering Northeast has been a bastion of the BJP over the last 7-8 years, which it never was earlier. And before it soon slips away from their hands in this era of social media, wherein things are being blown out of proportion on the social media. And fake news is something which has a synonym that is, played with news itself nowadays. And there are many vested interests to break the national integrity and peace. So keeping all that in mind, Lieutenant General Consul Himalaya Singh, we request you to take us through the backdrop, the current situation, and the possible solutions of the Manipur crisis. This will help India, this will help Northeast, this will help the younger generation coming out of Northeast, and this will definitely help India's image in the global arena as well, wherein Mr. Modi is trying desperately now to, especially in the day, in the year of India's G20 presidency, these kind of blots are going to play a very, very kind of reverse process. They're going to be playing a very reverse process in the entire global superstardom process towards which India is progressing in the year 2047 when it reaches the 100th year of independence. Lieutenant General Consul Mamala Singh, thank you for joining us again. Over to you. Manipur crisis, backdrops, and the future possible solutions.
Thank you, Amit. Very kind of you to invite me to this talk. First of all, I'll just give a little clarification. I am not advisor to the Chief Minister of Manipur. I am member of the consultative group on Naga talks. But I am a concerned citizen in whatever is happening today in Manipur. I would like to say that from the 3rd of May till today, many lives have been lost, many properties have been destroyed, and the mistrust between two communities. There are many communities in Manipur, 36 communities. But the mistrust between two communities have reached the rock bottom. Having said that, your main question or points for discussion amounted to giving the background of the situation and also about the achievements as far as the insurgency situation is concerned, and also fake news, social media. I was writing down your points. So I will come to them one by one.
And the possible solutions, sir.
Yeah, solution. So first of all, I would say let's try and discuss what insurgency means. Insurgency today is not what it was 30 years back, 40 years back. It's a gray zone area. We cannot identify who the people are who are taking up arms against the government. It becomes difficult to identify what constitutes insurgency, what constitutes terrorism, what constitutes civil war, in what constitutes communal violence, what constitutes whatever. It's a gray zone area we are in. Today in Manipur, there are more than 40 armed groups, of which 26 or 23 of the Kuki militant groups have entered into a suspension of operations group. And also, as you know, we have discussed this before, the NSCN-IM has also gone into a talk with the government of India. That is the Naga talks. Some of the valley groups, minor groups, they have also entered into talks, but the major groups of the valley insurgency groups, popularly known as BVIGs, are yet to commence the talks. So you have a situation where a large number of insurgency groups are in talks and a large number of them not in talks, means not agreeing to talks. In the context of the strategic location of Northeast India in general, Manipur in particular, you know that we have a soft border, porous border in India, Indo-Myanmar border. And Myanmar is very, very unstable right now. And you have a situation where countries like China, countries like erstwhile East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, have been actively supporting many insurgent groups in the past. So therefore, it is very easy to, the people here, ethnic groups in Manipur, as I said, 36 groups. In Northeast India, it is more than 270. So you can imagine the situation is such that it is ripe for exploitation by the external elements and anti-national elements. That is the backdrop. Now, what has happened in the last 10 years, rightly or wrongly, there have been allegations of hundreds and maybe thousands of people coming into Myanmar, into Northeast India, particularly Mizoram and Manipur, from Myanmar. And there are also reports from, illegal migrations from Bangladesh as well. Other factor is the drug factor. Drug and poppy plantation, some even estimate that the volume of drug and the poppy plantation in Manipur itself will be over 30 to 40,000 crores a year. Mind you, all this in this very, very unstable area where ethnic tensions have legacy issues of the past of last 200 years. And then you have a situation where many, inequality, mostly it could be perception, inequality of opportunities. Some people feel that some group gets the, preferred kind of a reservation issue. That is why that scheduled tribe demand. Some people feel that, the valley people are more advanced. Some people feel that political power is with the majority. Therefore, some other people are not, enjoying the powers of today's, democratic system. So there are many such, perception of deprivation in terms of political power, in terms of economic power, and also in other social considerations. As you know, Manipur has been a kingdom as well as over 2000 years, recorded history. And it was an independent kingdom. Even the British, though it was in the suzerainty of British India till 1947, Manipur joined Indian Union only in 1949. Manipur had a separate constitution before the Indian constitution came into 1950. So it's a very complex situation as far as the backdrop of, various communities and the backdrop of the present situation here. On top of that, you have the divide, hill-valley divide in terms of administration. You have Christians and, Hindus here and some Muslims here. You have such multiple number of ethnic groups. Some have been classified or scheduled as scheduled tribes, some not. And some laws are actually, not equal of the valley and the hills. So it was a cocktail of various issues that was waiting to explode in case it was not handled properly. So I have explained to you in very, very short the legacy issues. Now, You will ask as to what actually triggered what has happened with effect from 3rd of May. Many people say that it was the High Court judgment. The High Court only said that there is a pending issue. The union government had asked the state government that please give your views to the demands for the Hindu Meiteis to become scheduled tribe. Mind you, that was in 2013. So based on a petition filed by some interested groups, they went to the High Court. High Court gave a judgment that please reply to this 10-year-old query from the central government and considerations for Meiteis, the Hindu Meiteis, to be given scheduled tribe. So this is what people know, that this was what sparked. I think that was only a kind of it was only a spark. Otherwise, the differences or the below the surface issues were already there, but this served as one of the sparks for the conflict. As you know, the government of Manipur under Chief Minister Biren Singh, some also say that his strong actions against drugs, poppy plantation, encroachment in the forest, and also illegal migrations, done in a very, very coercive manner, that might have been one of the causes for one section of the people to feel aggrieved. This is what some people say. On the other hand, the affected other Kuki group, they also felt that being called a foreigner in a place where they have lived for over 200 years, being called a narco-terrorist, being called, these encroachers in the forest land, they felt that it is not fair on them. So you just see the diversity of views between one set of believers of, one set of people and another set of people. So that is where the clash, and that is where the clash of interests was there. And the High Court judgment was only a spark, or which actually initiated. I think that was one of the sparks, which could have been one of the reasons for that, this current crisis. So as far as the background is concerned, I will say this much, since we don't have much of time, in short. The other factor which you asked was the fake news. I totally agree with you. In today's world, the media is a very, very powerful tool. And in fact, I was in the US when all this happened. The media in Europe and Western countries, even in New York Times, I have quoted it in my article. They gave a caption saying that majority Hindus, discriminates, the minority Christians. Actually, let me tell you, it is not about Christians versus Hindus. No, it has nothing to do with religion, what is happening here. In fact, if you ask me, Hindus are minorities here, because many Meitei groups have also become Christians. So Hindus are actually minority. Some even say that it is tribal versus non-tribal. No. Amongst the 36 tribes, only one particular tribe is engaged in, there are two communities who are engaged, other 34 are not at all involved in this crisis. So it is not a religious issue, it's not a tribal versus non-tribal issue. Then what is it? A lot of people ask me. So, so therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is that social media made it. If you recollect, there was a huge debate when the Archbishop of I think Bangalore, somebody made it a Hindu versus Christians conflict. No, it's not that. It's a it's a misunderstanding. It's a suspicion, and it is also due to deep-rooted legacy issues of the past, and most recently, due to the fact that one particular group felt totally, on a corner because of certain reasons. So this was eye for an eye, action thereafter. After 3rd of May, it was all about violence, revenge, eye for an eye, which I have repeatedly said is not going to solve the problem. Eye for an eye makes everybody blind in this world. That's what Mahatma Gandhi has said. The question you asked me last was that where do we go from here? I would say that is already over 40 days now. A number of steps was announced by Honorable Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah when he came to Manipur and stayed for 3 days. I had the opportunity to meet him. So he announced a large number of steps, which is in the open domain, like instituting inquiry, formation of unified command, then formation of peace committee, rehabilitation measures, and so many other issues, which I thought should have paved the way for dialogue, paved the way for reconciliation. It went, it was successful to some extent, but not the way I had expected. What do the opposing, people want? The Valley people say, Valley people, particularly the Meiteis, they say that, abrogate suspension of operations with the Kuki militants, those who are in talks. And they also said, have an NRC, which is, people coming from Myanmar or Bangladesh, whatever it is, have an NRC. They also say that we don't accept, condemns the separate administration demand by the 10 MLAs of Kuki community. And Valley people say they are not at all, they will not tolerate any idea to separate, to disintegrate Manipur. Valley people say open the national highway, which has been blocked for last 40 to 45 days, because of which there are many issues involved. Valley people say that, you try and bring peace. They are somehow requesting the center and state that stop, all these killings and disarm all the militant groups. Whereas the Kuki groups, they said, okay, a particular political party has been responsible for, instigating. Then there is they blame, like Maite Lipun and Arambai Tengol as the perpetrators of the violence. So it's a blame game going on since at least last 2 months. Where is the meeting point? To my mind, The first meeting point is that agree to talk, dialogue. There is no other way except a dialogue between the affected parties. People are expecting Delhi to solve our problem. Yes, Delhi can be facilitator. They have the power, they have the resources, they have the armed forces with them. But finally, we also have to contribute to the peace building mechanism by agreeing to bring peace and agreeing to talk and dialogue. That is the first action. The second issue I would like to say is that we have to ensure that there are thousands of weapons, illegal weapons, in circulation here. I was a corps commander in Jammu and Kashmir. Just 200-300 militants with 300-400 weapons kept the security forces engaged for a long time. Here we are talking about thousands and thousands of weapons. Totally, huge number of militant groups operating. You can't distinguish between militant groups and the village, defense force or defense groups that have come up. It's a mess here as far as the weapon circulation is concerned. The groups, whether you call militants, you call the Sioux groups, or you call the village defense force, they operate drones, they operate automatic weapons, they operate IEDs, they are adept at social media. It's a different form of warfare. Therefore, we have to ensure that each of these illegal weapons and the groups have to be disarmed simultaneously. One group says you disarm the other guy. Other groups say, no, you disarm them, the other guy first, and then we will disarm ourselves. How can it be in such a situation where mistrust is at the rock bottom? So it has to be simultaneous. The security forces were not able to operate because they were not allowed to move. Assam Rifles were not allowed to be moved by the mobs, the Merapibis people, because the mistrust had become so great, so huge. So therefore I said dialogue. Next was disarming. And also there are reasons for people to look at the Sioux agreement afresh. Is this a proper Sioux agreement if it is allegedly threatening another community? There are also others who say that there are people coming from Myanmar who are threatening. They looked into, rightly or wrongly, this is what people believe. And also, as I said, the cookie growers believe that Arambai Tengol is a threat to them. So this also has to be addressed. But the immediate issue will be the rehabilitation issue. There are more than 58,000 people in the various camps of both communities. They don't know where to go. There are camps, I think about 350 camps in Manipur itself. It's a humanitarian crisis. And media has made it worse by today's news said there has been widespread burning of houses. So I checked up in one of the news channels. Many houses burned, violence erupts. Actually, it was burning of 2 houses in a place away from Imphal. Vacant, nobody died, there was nobody. That is bad enough. I mean, burning of any houses, but still, when the media reports that there is a large-scale burning of house, then it gives a suspicion and also a degree of restlessness in people's minds. So media also can also contribute to some extent with I won't say downplaying, but with correct reporting. There is so much of social media which is encouraging distrust, rumors of all kinds. And the rumors in our society plays one of the, I remember I read a book by Colonel James Johnstone, who have written that Indians are suspicious by nature, but when you come to Manipur, you multiply that by 10 times, they are suspicious. So any suspicious activity gives rise to more rumors. And rumors make things worse. So the rehabilitation has to be done as early as possible. There are many long-term, issues which needs to be done, things like education of the children. It's a June, July is a very active time for the education of many children. Then you have long-term issues, as I said earlier, of addressing the illegal migrants, the drug and poppy plantations, and many other laws and regulations which are discriminatory at all. Then we can look at the political arrangements, what are the issues to be looked at. All these are long-term. But the immediate issue is about ending the violence, rule of law, and the rehabilitation and the governance to commence. These are some of the issues which many people are working, and I sincerely hope that it comes to an end. I sincerely hope, and I'm very confident that people of Manipur realizes this, that peace is the only way, dialogue is the only way. I really feel sad for the people, 130 odd souls who are no more, and about 350 injured, and at least about 4,000 houses burnt, and 55,000 or so people in the various camps displaced. It's a huge issue for the state and also for the country. So, Amit, I'll take on any other. I've spoken enough. I'll take on any questions that you feel that this thing. This was in gist what I as you asked for. Some question. These are the answers to your questions. Anything that I'm prepared to discuss. Yeah. Thank you.
The center and the state government both belong to the BJP. In quite some time that Biren Singh is in power, the donor ministers and then central ministers making rounds of the Northeast, the Ashtabhuja every week for the last 7-8 years. Then why this has happened?
Okay, that's a very great question. My view is that, see, as I said, my opening line was the legacy issues, which have been under the surface for a very, very long time. Many people didn't see it. And many people might have seen it, but they chose to ignore it. And Manipur, notice that in general, Manipur in particular is a very complex society, very extremely complex. So many people fail to see. And those who saw it, they spoke up. I have written in many articles the dangers of what is lurking under the surface. So those who saw it, many of them couldn't speak up. Many of them chose to ignore it. Those who spoke up, possibly they were not in the right places. So it was in a kind of, but having said that, let me tell you that we didn't expect this kind of violence, I mean, spiraling of this kind of violence to come out in any kind of a ethnic conflict. This is something unimaginable.
Today it is.
As I said,
today, I
as
mean,
I said, yeah.
There are 36 groups. So today it is this cookie. Tomorrow it could be some other one. So the root cause happens to be the same, more or less, in most of the, the kind of factions. So if the root, I mean, despite that, they will all have their own vested interests and demands and their own, ideologies. And this has grown over 200 years. And this is not a situation comparable to either JNK or to an Alpha of Assam. So this is a completely, kind of uncharted territory for even a government which has been there for the last 9 years. What is the future? I mean, how do you think this can be taken care of? I mean, this seems to be a very complicated situation.
Yeah, it is complicated, but as I said, I have full confidence that people will realize that is not in the interest of any community to actually disturb the idea of Manipur. It is certainly not in the interest of any community to prolong this kind of ethnic conflict. Though they are talking, some of them are talking about separate administration, some are talking about this and all, but I feel that if you look at the history and if you look at the geography of Manipur, it is very difficult to actually suggest that it can be balkanized, or it can be, yes, some kind of a arrangement, political arrangement under the constitution is definitely worth considering. But to balkanize it, to further divide it, uh, may not actually be the ideal solution, because it will create further more and more, because every community will want, smaller and smaller. This will not be in India's national security interest at all. And just for your information, in 1762, the boundary of Kingdom of Manipur was south of Brahmaputra and up to the Chindwin in Myanmar and up to Sylhet in Bangladesh. Just see the size and the power of the Kingdom of Manipur. And when you reduce it further into just about 700 square kilometers, which was about 1.5 or lakhs of kilometers big kingdom, and then if the forces at play want to reduce it to 700 square kilometers, so obviously the people also will feel in a reactive mode. So there are many historical legacies, and each community have played a part in the making of this kingdom, including the cookies. So therefore, it may not be a wise idea to divide it further. So I would also say that in the modern times, we must look at new thoughts, new ideas, how everybody can live as equals. That should be the aim, and I'm sure that people realizes this.
What do you think can be done from a, administrative purpose or administrative strategy purpose by the Home Ministry now? To What are the top 3 suggestions for the Home Ministry that
Okay.
you?
Home Ministry, the first issue I'll definitely very important is look at the armed groups afresh, disarming them, and any illegal weapons has to be disarmed. The next issue is look at the border management. That is why people are demanding NRC and all. Border manage, as I said, porous. There is a porous border with Myanmar. When I say porous, it is by agreement. We call it free movement regime between Myanmar and India, which actually, in reality, it becomes a free movement. So there is a fear amongst the people that because of the instability in Myanmar, many people are coming this side, which is, in fact, recorded number of people is about 30,000 in Mizoram and Manipur, over that, and unrecorded maybe far more. Because border management is a MHA issue, is not a MOD issue. And the third, since you asked for only three major point, is the third will be the political outreach. The political outreach has to be at multiple levels. They have to look afresh, about how to, satisfy the aspirations of the people. At the same time, maintain what the, the idea of Manipur. So this is something that people know what I'm talking.
Has Assam Rifles failed completely?
Say again?
Has Assam Rifles failed completely?
No. I would say that it was Assam Rifles and some army units who handled the situation for the first 5-6 days completely on their own and rescued more than 36,000 people and kept them in their camps, fed them. But there are certain reports about Assam Rifles not having done their
Sir, I'm
job
talking about the border management issue.
Border management issue. Okay. Border management issue, Assam Rifle has not failed because there are issues of policy issues. Assam Rifles, as of today, are engaged in insurgency and border management. So what the Assam Rifle were more units. Number one, more infrastructure, because there are no infrastructure along the road. And certainly it cannot be that BSF way of Naka, Saka and all that. No, there are no fences there. Terrain is difficult. Roads are not there. So we have to look at smart ways of border management. When I say smart, technology. And then we got to, we get to make sure that this FMR thing, actually this free movement regime is only for, I think, over 1.5 lakh people who are staying within 16 kilometers of either side. So we must have identity cards. As of now, I can go because nobody can recognize whether I'm resident of 16 kilometers or I'm resident of Imphal, which is about 40 kilometers from the border. So all this I have been suggesting for last at least 10 years.
Because of the terrain, neither, unlike the Bangladesh border, we do not have the option of the fencing arrangements of the villages. All those things are also not possible.
No, it is possible. Why not? It is just a will. We have to do fencing. We have to do fencing. We have to, if we have a fence, then we have to dominate it by observation from some place. So we are, as I said, I cannot detail everything here, but some kind of a smart thinking has to be done. It's not a difficult problem at all.
Okay.
Disadvantages of not having a proper border management ways. What people are talking, I mean, you can't imagine the volume of illegal trade. You can't imagine the volume of illegal drugs in this part of this. And what does the fencing cost? What does the making of roads cost? Nothing compared to it. Doesn't it will not even cost 1 year's annual smuggling volume of
So what
over
has been done?
40, 50,000
What
crores.
has been done by the government in the state over Biren Singh government and in the state for the last few years from the economic kind of egalitarian perspective, policy perspectives, or from opportunities for the for the people of Manipur? Because you see now the next one of the ways in which the political campaigns are getting directed towards is giving the impression of the government creating jobs for the masses. So has anything been done from economic what do you call economic strengthening perspective for the empowerment of the youth and the common man in Manipur?
I think what I my personal view, I may be wrong. I don't have all the details of the government. What I find is that unemployment rate is very high, continues to be high, and also the infrastructure development. I think needs far more attention from the state government as well as from the center. And I think the entire issue of governance, making sure governance means nothing but making sure that benefits of the government or the people who are entitled must get it. So
So,
I
General
think
sir,
there is some uh, yeah,
carry on.
some room
Carry.
for improvement is what I'm saying. A lot of scope for improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, General Saab, I think you have wonderfully laid out as the expert of Northeastern, landscape of India, and somebody who's seen defense issues from closest possible quarters, along with greats like General V.K. Singh, and somebody who has been a son of the soil in a state which is now facing all this crisis. You probably the government will be in good will be in good shape and in good state if it will hold them in good state if in case they can listen to the suggestions made by you, especially considering the kind of you know irreversible or the kind of incorrigible backdrop of Manipur, which is very very different, which is very unique in its entire history. So the interlocution, economic, I mean all these things, army issues, MHA issues, border management. I mean most importantly, these are all the reactions that we are talking about. The causes, the basic cause of everything, according to me, of such kind of political crisis is deep rooted in empowerment and primarily in economic empowerment. If there is economic empowerment of the masses, if there is a growth, there is a, sustainable growth, there is industrialization, there is investment, ultimately people start having confidence in the administration, in the dispensation, and such forces then can be brought to book by the use of law and order and force. So if you have the masses disenchanted with the basics of roti kapra makan, and only internet is there for free, then I'm sorry. I mean, with the kind of backdrop that Manipur brings on the table, it is a very very and much more difficult and unique proposition compared to others, as we discussed, like in Jammu and Kashmir and even Assam. And as much we procrastinate, taking care of the basic necessities, the basic issues from the development perspective, the more the delay, these issues will, start boiling up and volcanizing into something much more, dangerous. And the sudden eruptions, or probably the eruptions, will then become chronic and deep rooted, and they will also have a ripple and simmering effect on the states which are nearby, as we can already see that happening in states which are on the boiler already. And with the 2024 elections up for grabs, seats up for grabs, I mean, the government has to be very careful, because it is going to have, again, as I said, a ripple effect on even the other states, wherein such vested interests are already at play. And the moment there is something which can give them a little bit of a catalysis, I'm sure there will be no looking back for those forces as well. So the government better has to pull up their socks and start looking at development instead of finding solutions to, it's like a, you're looking at solutions. It's basically a kind of a reaction effect to all these issues that we keep hearing from time to time, and this will persist. General K.S. Singh, I'm sure this particular discussion with you will be taken up with both hands by the MHA and the Ministry of Defense, and also the government of Manipur. And if they have people like you, I'm sure things will be a little better in the days to come. Thank you, General Saab. It is always a pleasure talking to you, and
Thank you.
forward to further interactions with you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.